Hostage review. Julie Delpy and Suranne Jones take charge. Empires crumble more easily than many of us would like to admit. And in Netflix's latest series, Hostage, written and created by Bridge of Spies scribe Matt Charman, two world leaders face an international crisis that threatens their personal lives, careers, and the countries they've defended. Fast-paced with a side of melodrama, the political thriller is an intricate puzzle of power, ruthlessness, and unimaginable choices. The series opens in present-day London. Just 8 months into her role, British Prime Minister Abigail Dalton, Suranne Jones, is grappling with two major crises. In an attempt to stabilize the UK's economy, she has cut the military budget by significant numbers, much to the chagrin of her cabinet. Additionally, the National Health Service faces a supply crisis, with pharmacies across the country having bare shelves and at-risk citizens struggling with life-saving medication. Still, Dalton remains committed to pressuring an Anglo-French summit and her historic meeting with French President Vivienne Toussaint. Julie Delpy, https:/variety.com. However, amid negotiations on refugees and medical aid from France, she learns that Dr. Alex Anderson, Ashley Thomas, and his team have been kidnapped in French Guiana while administering aid to locals in need. Horrified, Dalton turns to President Toussaint for help, but the far-right leader would rather engage in quid pro quo than allyship. What's worse, Alex's kidnappers demand Dalton's resignation in exchange for his safe return. As additional information about the kidnappers and Dalton's past political struggles is revealed, it becomes clear that this is well beyond a simple ploy to oust the Prime Minister. Moreover, while Toussaint initially seeks to exploit Dalton's misfortune for her gain, she realizes her own shortcomings are on the verge of being exposed. Though the structures and stresses of government are fascinating to watch, what makes Hostage captivating is witnessing two women as heads of state who are vilified and undermined at every turn due to misogyny and perceived weakness. The series illustrates the inhumanity central to politics, and it's easy to see why so many politicians turn cruel and callous to preserve themselves over the people they've promised to help. Determined to elevate the series to true high drama, Julie Delpy and Suranne Jones excel in their respective roles, yet Hostage retains a soapy quality that prevents it from reaching. While fun to watch, the series doesn't fully flesh out its ideas, and the big bad is less fully realized than audiences might expect. Still, despite these minor mishaps, the narrative is captivating. The tension between Dalton and Toussaint is palpable, and the friction between Dalton and her teen daughter Sylvie, Isabelle Aquadik, following Alex's kidnapping is gutting. Episode 4. The Showstopper takes viewers back to their motivations for entering politics and the lengths they will go to secure their futures. It's also a reminder that even when we think we know a story will end, it often shifts in a new direction, forcing us to open our eyes and minds to alternative outcomes and perspectives. Despite some truly far-fetched storylines and one rather salacious twist, Hostage is certainly worth the ride. If the current U.S. government were in a different state, the outlook on the show may have been slightly different. However, through a 2025 lens, the limited series reminds audiences of the fragility of democracy, that perfect politicians don't exist, and why greed and vengeance rooted in the foundation are strong enough to level it at any moment. Hostage is now streaming on Netflix.